The law is going to help meet all of my bold climate goals by cutting carbon pollution in half by 2030. In half by 2030. And between the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, we're investing more than $50 billion to build up resilience and impacts on climate change. These laws support important priorities, from addressing historic drought along the Colorado River Basin. Remember when I said we had a concern about the Colorado River literally going dry? You all thought I was crazy. I wish I had been, but guess what? I was just out there and looking down in the Grand Canyon, and guess what? It's coming back. But at any rate, we're responding to coastal erosion, sea level rise in the Gulf of Mexico, and helping reduce the effects of extreme heat by investing nearly $1.5 billion to plant trees and expand community parks and forests. Folks, there's a lot more. You've heard a lot today, and I'm going to not go into it all, but this law is helping families save thousands of dollars in energy bills every year through the tax credit and rebates to buy new and efficient electric appliances, weatherize their homes, install heat pumps, rooftop solar. As a consequence of this, it's estimated that the consumer is going to save at least $27 billion in electric bills between now and 2030. We're also offering tax credits up to $7,500 to buy new electric vehicles, and I've worked it out with the European Union. And fuel cells made here in America. For the first time, we can get a tax credit to buy used electric vehicles. And thanks to the law, new electric vehicles are going to save, this is a fact, if we do this, and we're doing it now, tens of billions of gallons of gasoline between now and 2030. That's a lot less pollution. And I'm not even going to start to talk to you about Amtrak. It's going to save billions of dollars, I really mean it, in energy costs. But we'll get into that later now. Let me be clear on this point. When I say climate means jobs, I mean good paying union jobs. And the law will give an added boost to clean energy products that pay prevailing wage, employ registered apprenticeships, and use made in America parts and products, and not violate any international trade agreements. It's all in the law. And we're re-incentivizing companies to build clean energy projects in the same communities that powered our nation with fossil fuels. We owe them.
President Biden right now speaking in the East Room of the White House. Again, it is the one-year anniversary of the Inflation Reduction Act. Part of it addressed climate change, and that's what he's focusing on right there, saying all of the aspects of this bill that address climate change will save consumers money, save Americans money, and also create new jobs. He says climate jobs equal good-paying union jobs. He's talking about tax cuts for electric vehicles, including electric vehicles that you can buy used for the first time, making fuel cells in America, saving $27 billion in electric bills for consumers. So he's trying to tell people that this act, which was bipartisan at the time of its passage, will save you money. The question is, when will it start saving you money? Joining me now to address that part of it, NBC News business and data reporter Brian Chung. So the big question is always the when. And obviously politicians want it to be right now, right now, right now, because it suits them. But oftentimes when you're talking about the economy, you're talking about legislation, it can take some time. Have we seen any of the effects so far of the IRA?
Yeah, well, there's a lagging impact, as you mentioned, on two fronts, right? In what we see in the economic data and how the U.S. economy reacts, but then also how quickly Washington and the private sector can actually get the proposals and policies put in place. So the Inflation Reduction Act has a lot of provisions in it, everything from drug pricing to EVs, as you mentioned. I mean, there was a lot in it. And a lot of those things are going to take time to change, some faster and slower than others. When we talk about manufacturing, which the president was just speaking at length about recently, from what we just heard, that's going to take many, many years to put in place. So actually, you have some like the Penn-Wharton budget model saying that it could actually be inflationary in the short term while that construction is being done, with the potential for lowering inflation many years down the line. So in short, it's going to take time to take inflation down, although we've already seen the headline inflationary numbers come down, although that may have been a coincidence around the timing of that
Let me ask you that, because inflation has come down. It's been on the way down for the past few months now. I mean, in some areas, it's been stickier than others, and consumers might not be feeling it so much when they go to the grocery store. But can you attribute any of that to the Inflation Reduction Act, or is it just a matter of coincidence?
Yeah, well, when you take a look at things like gasoline, right, that oftentimes is the proxy for how Americans interpret inflation. How much is it going to cost me to put the gas into my car that I use every day? Now, when it comes to that story, there was a huge price spike in energy that I don't need to remind anyone of in the summer of last year. That has since come down. That is a big benefit. And that is not really attributable to the Inflation Reduction Act. On the margins, there was something about the way that the administration handled the Strategic Petroleum Reserve that did contribute to that price decline. But on the Inflation Reduction Act, the types of things that over the medium or long term, which could take inflation down, like more manufacturing capacity in the United States, we have not seen that in the data yet. So yes, inflation, if we talk about annual rates, have come down from 9 to 6 to 5 to, as of latest, 3.2%. That's certainly good. But again, it's tough to draw a straight line between that and what we've seen from
As an economist, you don't want to live in the now. You want to live in the patience of the future. Wait for effects to come, because nothing is immediate in the world of the economy. Brian Chung, thank you so much.